the Workplace Behavioral Wellness Promotion Echo Series. Today's session is titled Challenging Stigma, Encouraging Authenticity to Build a Culture Free of Judgment. This is the second of our 5-session series developed to support employee retention, enhanced productivity, and a more resilient workforce through behavioral wellness promotion. My name is Sarah Kondrak, and I'm thrilled to be hosting this Project Echo Hub along with my Ohio University colleagues. So thank you all for joining us today. This series is brought to you by the Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Service at Ohio University, which partners with communities, agencies, and businesses to increase capacity, develop leaders, and improve the quality of life for Ohioans and beyond. So a little bit about the Voinovich School for our new participants. It is home to the Master of Public Administration program, which offers 3 degree options to support diverse learning needs and professional goals. We encourage you to visit the MPA website to learn more or contact Dr. Jolly if you have questions. Also, these slides will be available in iEcho. If you didn't catch all this information, you can go back and have a look at those. The Voinovich School also offers the online Master of Sustainability, Security, and Resilience and the in-person Master of Science and Environmental Studies programs. Both programs emphasize applied interdisciplinary learning to equip students with the skills needed to navigate sustainability, resilience, and environmental challenges. Finally, wanted to call your attention to 2 programs offered by the Voinovich Academy for Leadership and Public Service, which is the school's professional development arm. The Ohio Certified Public Manager Leadership Academy builds essential management and leadership skills, while the Leading in Appalachia Connection and Collaboration program focuses on relationship building and cross-sector collaboration. This program has just opened registration, so please check that out if you are interested. Okay, so if this is your first time at an Echo session, welcome. Our community is continuing to grow, and we're just so glad that everyone is here today. At the heart of Project Echo is the philosophy of all teach, all learn. Each session kicks off with a presentation from a subject matter expert on the topic, followed by a community member sharing their work and experiences. What makes Echo unique and effective is that everyone here comes with their own knowledge and expertise, and we'll all have the opportunity to learn from one another. So why Echo? We're highlighting some of the key benefits of the model on this slide. This approach quickly expands access to information and expertise, making it possible for everyone, regardless of your location or your professional network, to learn the latest best practices. Echo ultimately strengthens workforce capacity by giving professionals across sectors the skills and knowledge they need to make an impact in their work. So just some quick tips for today. Please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. It is the lunch hour here in Ohio, but if you can, please turn on your cameras. These sessions are really intended to build connections and relationships with our colleagues. Please use the chat feature throughout the session, particularly if you have resources that you would like to share with your colleagues. Our team will capture all of those and add them to a notes page that will be posted in iEcho following the session. Finally, if you have any tech concerns, please reach out to my colleague, Leslie Hoylman, if you need some help. So we have a great hub team. You can find us all with the same background. And as a hub team, we're committed to creating an inclusive environment by providing all necessary accommodations. We will start and end sessions on time and make good use of your time. The only recorded part of our sessions will be the didactic presentation, and this is out of respect for your privacy and the communities that you support. We also ask our participants to help create a safe and respectful learning environment by valuing the opinions of your colleagues, using inclusive and respectful language, and protecting the privacy of everyone involved by keeping the discussions confidential. We encourage you to be open and sharing your experiences, knowing that you have a safe and supportive space. Finally, a quick reminder that the content tab on the iEcho platform is your one-stop shop for resources from this series. You'll be able to find all of the slides, handouts, recordings, and notes in this tab. The discussions tab includes announcements that we may share throughout the series and a conversation board if you'd like to keep the conversation going. So please explore these and we will add lots of good information for you. All right. With that, I would like to introduce you to our didactic presenter, Dr. Katrina Weich. Dr. Weich has been in the substance use prevention and mental health field since 1995. She is a life coach at a Sound Mind Counseling Services, as well as an Ohio certified prevention consultant, certified trauma support specialist, and an Ohio counselor trainee. She obtained her Doctor of Education and Medical Trauma Informed Care certification from Xavier University, where she's also pursuing a second master's in clinical mental health, a true lifelong learner. She is also an adjunct professor and an assistant director of graduate admission at Xavier University. Dr. Weich is the co-founder of Love You to Life, LLC, a suicide prevention and mental health awareness organization. She's a member of the Hamilton County Suicide Prevention Coalition, the Task Force for Improving African American Mental Health, Butler County Suicide Prevention Coalition, State of Ohio QPR Advisory Committee, the Social Determinants of Health Work Group, and Wyoming Community in Action. She partnered with the Cincinnati Black Theater Company to develop and co-facilitate a Shoot with a Camera program where youth are provided the opportunity to amplify their voice on the impact of gun violence and mental health by developing documentaries and other media messages. Welcome, Dr. Weich. We're so excited to learn from your expertise today.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you all today. I'm so excited to have this conversation on, really looking at the stigmas that are in the workplace and encouraging people to operate within authenticity and building that culture of judgment-free zones. So this is very exciting to me and something that I'm very passionate about. Next slide, please. We can go 2 slides because we actually don't need to go through this again. I was tired just hearing everything. When we look at the levels of stigma in the workplace, there's so many ways that stigma infiltrates the workplace that we don't really know about or pay attention to. Um, when we think about organizational stigmas, that refers to the systematic or institutional policies and cultural norms that restrict opportunities for employees within a certain condition. So, just like inadequate mental health insurance or rigid policies that cannot, or excuse me, rigid policies that kind of prevent people from getting the assistance that they need, or lack of the reasonable accommodations that people might need. And then the next one, when we talk about social stigmas, that's where there's that negative attitude or beliefs and behaviors held by colleagues and managers or from the general public, right? Versus seeing people as dangerous or incapable of um, being able to do something due to their condition or their backgrounds. And then there's also prejudiceness that's a result of the social stigmas. Then when we look at personal stigmas, those are those individual attitudes and beliefs that drives the prejudiceness, such as a manager believing that an employee with a mental health condition cannot handle a promotion. So therefore, they won't give them a promotion because they don't think that they can handle it. That's a stigma. Self-stigmas, which a lot of people already do this themselves, right? So there's that internalization of negative public stereotypes where employees feel that shame, low self-worth, or guilt, leading them to feel that they do not deserve help or other opportunities that may be presented to them in the workplace. Then we look at perceived stigmas. Perceived stigmas are those individual beliefs about a negative view that others hold, which can create fear of disclosure and lead to isolation even before an overt discrimination occurs. Then we have labeling, which occurs when a person is defined by their diagnosis or condition rather than their skills, setting them apart from the group and leading them to marginalization. So those are the different types of stigmas that we see operating within a workplace. You can go to the next slide. And when all of these stigmas are in place, the impact of it is that now there's so many limitations of opportunities that people might experience. The resources aren't there. Managers' ability to support the staff kind of diminishes because there's that hesitation of not knowing exactly what they can do to support their staff members. And it creates that climate of fear, isolation, and judgment, and it makes it harder for employees to disclose information within the particular organization. It's leading to secrecy, reluctance to seek out treatment or support. And then people kind of disengage from work, right? So now there's some withdrawing away from the very things that they love to do. And then there's some damaging of the reputation for the individual as well as for the organizations. Because there may be some hindrance in their career growth and those kinds of things. Next slide, please. We're going to do a little deeper dive into organizational stigma. So when we talk about organizational stigma, it depletes the employee's emotional resources that leads them and leads them to emotional labor. So organizational stigma imposes a negative label on an individual in in the organization and is transferred to the individuals, potentially causing them to be mistreated in the organization, as well as their affiliation to the stigmatized organization or group that they are a part of. This induces intense negative emotional experiences such as embarrassment, shame, and maybe even some disgrace. So when stigma is experienced, it is more difficult for employees to align with the organization emotionally. So therefore, there's like that emotional labor that is now performed. And when we look at the emotional labor, that's that gap that's between the person feeling like they can be themselves, their individual, authentic selves, and then also needing to align with the organization's rules or guidelines. So employees tend to adjust their emotions to try to adapt to the organization's requirements. And this kind of activity where the employees are managing their own personal feelings, um, it creates an observable facial and bodily display in the workplace, which is called the emotional labor. And as a part of the emotional labor, employees begin to do what we call deep acting. A lot of times we might hear fake it till you make it. It's kind of like that same concept because now they're kind of experiencing their own emotional regulation and allowing them to be feeling genuinely the way that they would like to be, and then they express a little bit more. Now, when they kind of come to when people come to this emotional exhaustion, it's that whole thought of, I'm depleted from the emotional labor that I just had to put myself through. And now I'm constantly monitoring my emotions, my feelings, my facial expressions, everything about me. I'm monitoring it, which causes some exhaustion. In that modification of the external expressions of emotions until they are physically, cognitively, and motivational depleted. And if a person experiences emotional exhaustion, this experience leads to negative psychological feelings such as pressure and burnout from the individual. Next slide, please. Now, when we talk about burnout, there's so many different things that can, contribute to an individual feeling burnt out. But here's some strategies that can be put into place to kind of prevent burnout from occurring. So, setting those boundaries with people around you in the workplace, seeking emotional support when needed, and know that it's okay to seek that emotional support. A lot of times people or organizations that go through change. And when changes are occurring, it's very difficult for people to adjust and adapt to change sometimes. There are some who are gurus at adjusting to change, but I'm just going to be personal. I'm not one who's a guru to adapt to a lot of changes all at one time. So knowing that, that's when I seek out some emotional support, right? So that I can prevent myself from experiencing burnout. Some other things that we just kind of do as as we will look at our own self-care, which is exercising, eating well, real balanced meals, getting plenty of good sleep and rest, creating a schedule, because a lot of times having that schedule will allow you to kind of go back and put things into perspective, right? I can control these things that's on my schedule at this particular time. So those to-do lists and the things of the nature are really great to kind of help keep people on track and looking at what they need to do in order to protect their space. Taking those regular breaks. A lot of times we get to a point where we're just working and digging in, especially when we're under pressures in the workplace. But taking those regular breaks will allow you to kind of reset and prevent you from burning out. And engage in hobbies. When I got into a really stressful situation with a lot of changes that were taking place in my workplace, one of the things that I did, I got back to crocheting. And I didn't just crochet with the needle, I crochet with my finger and voila, creating different types of sweaters and cardigans for myself as my hobby to kind of help me de-stress and deprogram from things that were going on that I just needed a break from. So find your strategy that works best for you to prevent you from burning out. That's also your personal self-care. Next slide, please. And when we talk about stigma reduction strategies, so we have all these stigmas that are taking place in the workplace, right, in our organizations. But when we look at what can actually be done with this, there are several things that can happen. Education and training programs can really be a great start. Taking that needs assessment as to what do people need, what do they want to have. Also, some needs assessment things can look like really paying attention to the environment. What's going on? How are my employees feeling? How are the people feeling within the organization? What things do I see that needs to be changed, right? So then we implement some education and training programs around that. Use person first language when talking and interacting with people, just to show that connection and that you care on a personal level. Supportive leadership policies. So sometimes it takes a matter of going back and look at some of those policies and procedures that we have in place. Now, I totally get it and I understand. We can't go out there and just change everything that we want to whenever we want to. There are protocols for certain things, but when we have that opportunity to take a step back and look at some of those policies that might be able to be changed, let's look at changing those. Let's look at ways that we can really support our employees. Encouraging that open dialogue, making sure that people have that opportunity to express themselves, to talk about the things that are of concern to them with an open ear, right? And not just saying, okay, I have an open door policy, but I don't really want to hear what you have to say. So every time you come in, I might, say some things that will kind of diminish what you're saying. But I have an open door policy. We have to make sure that we're creating the environment that cultivates that open door policy. And creating those employee resource groups or those affinity groups within an organization really does allow people to have that tribe of people that they can connect with and be aligned with. And model respectful behavior. We'll come back to this whole list in a little while. But modeling the behavior that you would like to see in your employees or in the organization. Next slide, please. Organizational culture is a big one. There are a lot of things that individuals can do or an organization can do to breed the culture that they would like to have. And the culture is really made up of the people that's in it, right? So you want to make sure that the values of the organization are clear. Again, behaviors are modeled that you would like to see. That open and honest communication is fostered. There's some recognition and people have the opportunity for professional growth and development. Because when you have those things in place, then you will see more of that inclusivity, psychological safety, meaning that I can feel safe at work. I feel like I can have a conversation with my leadership or my managers, or maybe even my coworkers, and knowing that all things would be okay and stay right here, or maybe we can work together to make some change without any ridiculing behavior coming back to me. But all in all, the thing that's getting to organizational culture is when we want to have an organization where people feel like they are really cared for and nurtured within the company. And I know companies are there to make money, but at the same time, when we're here, we also want to feel like we're accepted and not just another number. So being authentic is really, really important. Next slide, please. Now, there was a survey done through the Leadership Development Survey that was done, and it came through the Simmons University Institute for Inclusive Leadership. And here's some things that they found on authenticity in the workplace. So, the biggest part is people maintaining professionalism, expressing their true self. There we go again with the authenticity, expressing their true self, having emotional intelligence, being genuine, vulnerable, and aligned with the organizational goals were big top things on this particular list. When people felt that they were in a workplace that was authentic, 71% of their employees felt more confident. 60% of the employees were more engaged. And that's a lot. And then when I look at this next top statistic, 46% were happier at work. I mean, I know I want to be in a workplace where everyone is happy, or at least I'm happy in a workplace. I've been in places before where the emotional intelligence was off. There wasn't any true professionalism, and things were just kind of chaotic, and I was not happy. And for that, I didn't want to go to work anymore, but I still went. But we like to go to positions or um, have the opportunity to really have those great experiences at work because we're spending half of our time in the workplace. So we should have some happiness there. But I wanted to point that out. Um, Again, authenticity in the workplace means that we're having that opportunity to express your true self, the values and beliefs while maintaining the professionalism, fostering that level of trust, psychological safety, engagement, and better performance by being genuine, not oversharing, or being inappropriate. It involves a level of self-awareness, acting in alignment with the core values, and creating an environment where others feel safe and share ideas and admit to their mistakes, leading to innovation and a stronger team overall, but it requires having that balance, that fine balance between vulnerability and situational awareness. So, those are some things that we have to kind of keep in mind when we're thinking about these things. Next slide, please. Now, according to the same study, the top five qualities of authentic individuals and authentic leaders, I was quite amazed when I saw that the list pretty much mirrored each other, right? All the way down to the last two, four and five on both lists are flopped, right? Flip-flopped from one another. But according to this survey, um, for individuals, confidence was the next cited. So confidence number four was the next cited of people feeling that they, can be more confident once that honesty, openness, and transparency was available to them. Then they could feel more confident in the workplace, and they were more confident in the workplace. They felt minimum tension between who they are, how they feel, and how they show up, or seen in the workplace because of the other three factors. Now, for leadership, the vulnerability came as the next common quality after the first three. And with this, the leader's ability to share their personal information and experiences and connect with a direct reports on a personal level, followed by that feedback and supportiveness and teamwork that they have in place. They saw the authentic authentic behavior and good leadership practices that was there for them all. So I thought that that was really cool seeing that. Next slide, please. So the top five behaviors of authenticity. Owning your mistakes. That's really big. I know a lot of times people, they don't want to own their mistakes, but owning your mistakes and trying to do things better the next time around are very important. Ensuring actions are positive for not just the individual that's doing the action, so the management, but it's also that it's a positive impact for others around them. Telling the truth, even if the news is bad. I know a lot of times we might work in an organization or things may happen and you really don't want to tell the entire truth, but a lot of times telling the truth will be very much more appreciated than walking around with false truths, where employees not knowing or understanding exactly what's going on. Act according to the personal values that you have, right? So when people are doing that, that really helps out an entire amount. But the one thing that stands out to me with this whole thing is that when there's a combination of the authentic qualities and the behaviors, it creates that strong and consistent picture of authenticity in the workplace. The qualities of empathy, care, and compassion, those also must be present and being authentic. So when people are differing in their management styles, that's and they're being true to themselves. Sometimes that truth that they have, sometimes you might hear, I just tell it like it is kind of mentality. Those kinds of mentalities, when that happens, it causes demotivation in the workplace. So we have to be sure that we're always honoring and looking at how can I remain empathetic, caring, and compassionate to the people that I'm working with and engaging with and being my true authentic self so that I can motivate other people to do their very best. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, when we look at authenticity building tools, so how can we do this? We talked about all of this stuff, but how can I actually do it? What can I do? So there's different things that can be done on an individual and organizational level. Um, as an individual, get to know yourself. A lot of times, people don't take the time to know themselves. We get to know yourself. What are your triggers? What are your motivators? Practice the behaviors at all times. Be brave and be okay to be vulnerable. But just knowing being vulnerable doesn't necessarily mean that you have to overshare or do things that are very uncomfortable for you. But there is growth in the field of being uncomfortable. So just knowing that there's some areas that we can grow in still too. For organizations, make a core value to be authentic, offer professional development opportunities, and really highlight authentic leaders and individuals within the organization, and continue to build trust. So, and that trust comes with that honesty. It comes with being open, is establishing, like we said before, the employee resource groups or affinity groups. Um, the bottom line here is that when any or all of these tools are adapted to the needs of the organization, it creates that culture of openness and provides an environment of psychological safety, which is what we're really looking at and going for when we're talking about breaking those stigmas within an organization and having and allowing people to be their true, authentic selves. Thank you.